Alright, hi everyone, again. Today's class will be a little unique, a little different from the previous ones. So today, I'm going to be taking a moment to talk about some specifics, culturally, linguistically, and where those meet. And I'm also going to be using my own specific case here in Spain, where I've been teaching for the last 6-7 years. And the main topic for today's class will be linguistic and cultural differences in the norms in which we interact, okay? The greater purpose of this class is to basically help our students look even deeper into the details and specifics of what linguistic differences there are between two different cultures. And we're going to be doing this using our wonderful TV series Friends, that is hugely popular, and I love it. This is an excellent method to identify common interactions, right? The great thing about these sitcoms are you really have what consists of probably 90%, certainly the majority of your spoken interactions will be in the same sort of formats as you see in sitcoms. So in Friends, for example, they have relatively realistic conversations. They're not doing, this is not non-fiction or even fiction with long narrations or descriptions. These are just back and forth chats using very common vocabulary normally, okay? So they're very useful in that sense. And so Friends will be sort of our source, but what we're going to touch on lightly is what we call, politeness theory. We're going to just lightly jump into this topic. We won't go too deeply, but we will talk about it. So we have politeness theory, and we'll talk about face-threatening acts, which sounds much more, perhaps, I don't know, dramatic than it is. And to give an wholly, to give just a very brief description of this, politeness theory involves all of the different possible spoken interactions in a culture, broken into all its individual parts. Okay, so this is when it's almost a mathematical way to look at language. As I said from the beginning, we're not going to go too deeply into this realm because it does go quite deep, but we're going to talk just about some common situations, okay, and common differences between, in this case, Spanish culture and in my own personal background, American English culture. So, let's look at some situations. What we do frequently in American English type culture to show politeness, we often leave plenty of space linguistically for the person to be able to leave a situation they may not like. What do I mean by this? I mean, in American English, you might hear something like, if you could do that, it would be great, right? Or, how else can we say this? Well, that's a good one. But let's just analyze that statement. If you could do that, like, if you could do this work for me, you could do this work for me, that would be great. Would be great. Now, this is very, it's obviously implying what we want, but it's also leaving space linguistically and in this sentence. It's leaving space for the listener to decide, well, I understand what you want, but I think actually for some reason I can't do it, right? Now, this is not to say that in Spanish we couldn't create this same sentence, but we're talking about norms, right? At least we're talking about Spanish, by the way. So I'm less familiar with like Mexican Spanish or any other Spanish-speaking culture. But now, what would be? Okay, so without diving too deeply into a different language, since I know we have many different listeners, what I want to do is, I just want us to identify and recognize this common type of American English structure, which leaves space for the listener to politely be able to decline an offer. And, okay, so now that we've recognized this, I want us to do a few things. I want us to go to youtube.com, and we're going to be looking at some Friends episodes. I want you all to see. And I want you to consider 4 different points. I want you to consider when the friends are soliciting advice. I want you to notice when the friends are replying to criticism. When the friends are asking for things. And when they are giving commands, which is sort of overlaps. Some of these overlap, and giving commands might sound strong, but as we know, this is not as forceful as it may appear superficially. This is very common. You know, if I say, class, please take out a piece of paper. This is a command, right? But I don't mean to come off as too strong there. So, this is what we're going to do, all right? We're talking about cultural differences between here in Spain where we are currently and our American English background by using Friends on YouTube. And I want us to look for these 4 situations and make sure you have the subtitles. We need the subtitles out on YouTube, and we are going to analyze in detail the little differences. And we're going to compare them to our own cultures. If we would say the exact same thing, exact same way, and we're just diving deeper into language, all right? So that's the class for today. Thanks.